Hey folks, welcome to another WaterTrek 360. Today I'm in Barbados and I'm going to be doing the Carlisle Bay wrecks. All seven of them. Let's go have some fun. Carlisle Bay on the west coast of Barbados is a unique area for diving. The Carlisle Bay Marine Park has one of the highest concentrations of shipwrecks in the Caribbean. The main section is home to 6 to 7 wrecks, some pretty good sized, some merely remnants and debris from previous vessels. There are over a dozen wrecks on this side of the island alone. Do check out my other videos on some of the other wrecks in the same vicinity. In this video, I will take you through the full circle route done by most dive operators. Hang in there and enjoy. Follow the little diver around to see where you are at the site. We started with the wreck of the Berwyn. She's one of the oldest wrecks in Barbados and one of the most visited by scuba, freedivers, and snorkelers alike, since she can be reached at only 10 feet. As the story goes, this 70-foot French tug was to return to France in 1919 after hiding out in Bridgetown during the war, but the crew was having none of it. It was a long voyage home in a small boat. They mutinied, sunk the vessel. This video was taken with an iPhone 16 Pro. Berwyn is one of the shallowest, bigger wrecks at roughly 25 feet. There were stingrays off in the sand and tons of fish on the wreck, trumpetfish, wrasse, tang. On this day, I saw several of these large scrolled filefish, a large porcupine fish, and a massive orange fireworm. This is a great wreck for macro photography. From there we headed off to the Bajan Queen. This was the longest swim between the wrecks in the circuit. We cruised past what is listed as an old anchor. The Bajan Queen is the biggest wreck at the site, at 120 feet long. She is upright and easily penetrated. She sits in 40 feet of water. Since her top deck is just a few yards beneath the surface, she also is frequented often by snorkelers and freedivers. She was once Barbados's only tug, plying her trade as the Pelican. She was later refitted as a famous party cruiser under the name of Bajan Queen. She was added to the Marine Park in 2002. This was my favorite wreck of the site by far. You can easily spend 20 minutes or so just on this wreck alone, especially if you want to go inside.
If you are into larger wrecks to penetrate, check out my other videos on Barbados wrecks like the Trident and the Stavro Nikita.
Next, we moved on to another large wreck, the Elion. She's 110 feet long and sits less than 50 feet away from the bow of the Bajan Queen, as you can see in the aerial view in the upper right. She's marginally deeper at 55 feet. Unfortunately, some cloud cover rolled in, impacting visibility. The vessel has a port side list that you can see here. As the story goes, the Elion came to Barbados from Colombia. The ship was seized by local authorities and searched. They pulled off some of the interior walls of the vessel, discovering virtually every wall was lined with marijuana. The government seized control of the vessel. She sat in Bridgetown for 6 years until all the legal issues were taken care of. Then towed to the Marine Park and sunk by the Coast Guard with the dedicated efforts of a ram Edgehill on June 8, 1996. A popular tourist moment is the rare opportunity to surface in an under-air pocket near the bow while 40 feet below. We headed towards the stern inside the large cargo hold. The Elion also has places you can penetrate if you wish, but mostly near the stern. We popped out near the stern, surfaced on the aft deck, and headed off towards our next site. If you have the time and are spending multiple days in Barbados, doing just the Bajan Queen and Elion is worth a full dive on its own. We moved on to a small sailboat lying on its port side, sitting inside of a concrete structure. There's not much here other than a waypoint to the next wreck.
We moved on to the Sea-Trek. This 45-foot vessel lay derelict for quite some time before being sunk in 1986 to add to the preserve. Oddly, she doesn't at all look like a concrete boat to me. If you've seen any of my previous wreck videos, you know I never pass up a chance to peek inside. This is a cute little wreck with a slight starboard list. By itself not a destination, but as part of the marine park, a key addition. Next, on to the Cornwallis. This is actually just a portion of the vessel, not the entire ship, and there really isn't much here. She was built in 1921 as the Canadian Transporter, renamed to Cornwallis in 1932. She has the dubious distinction of being sunk by a U-boat twice. First, she was sunk on September 11, 1942, by the U-514 carrying a cargo of sugar and molasses. She was raised, patched up, towed to Mobile, Alabama, where she was repaired. She was later torpedoed by the U-1230 and sunk off the coast of Maine on December 3, 1944. Her broken wreckage in Barbados was relocated in 2003 to where it is now. We then moved on to one of the smallest wrecks, the Barge. As you can see, the cloud cover disappeared and the visibility improved. This was a naval landing barge and was sunk in 2003. It sits in 20 feet of water. The wreck is flat with no openings, not as exciting as others. Many reef fish have made their homes inside this little barge. This too is a great spot for macro photography if you have the time. We then headed back past the remaining debris field to our starting point, the Berwyn. The entire dive took roughly 55 minutes. Before you go to Barbados, there's a few things to consider. The best time to visit is normally between December and May. That's the dry season. There are limited flights, so pick your times carefully, especially for departures. Water temperature ranges from 75 to 89, so plan your wetsuit accordingly. If you want to see rays, turtles, and colorful fish, you're in the right place. If you want to see sharks, you are not, unless you are on the Atlantic coast side of the island. While there are sharks, they tend to stay outside the barrier reef. On rare occasions, you may see a nurse shark. There has never been a reported shark attack in Barbados. If you're looking for amazing reefs like you might find elsewhere in the Caribbean, you also might be a bit disappointed, at least on the west side. There has been a deterioration of the reefs over the years due to overfishing and development. Barbados gets a global reef report card of 2.7 out of 5. There are efforts underway to address these issues and restore the reefs, but it will take some time. If you like shipwrecks, Barbados is the place to go. Most of the wrecks are on the west side. While there are some wrecks on the Atlantic side of the island, those are rarely visited by dive operators due to wind and current. On one trip, I did 12 wrecks in 4 days. Another 6 or so I still want to do. Please note, there is a lot of boat traffic in Carlisle Bay Preserve, carrying both snorkelers and divers, so please be aware of your surroundings while on the surface. Additionally, visibility around the shallow wrecks may be a bit more challenging and compromised due to all that activity. Barbados is an awesome place to visit and a definite must-dive vacation. Pretty cool. Anyway, my friends, as always, stay safe in your dive adventures, and remember, go explore, get wet,